Today I'm going to talk about a game that's, kind of in the recent era. I've heard a lot of good things about. Kind of lines up with my interests. So I thought I'd check it out. It's Exodus Proxima Centauri from NSKN Legendary Games. Big box, got a lot of components. Nice, elegant artwork here. Shows a fight going on. Gives you a little sense of the universe. Like 10.5 by 15 by 3.5. Back cover gives you a little bit about it. Game designed by Andrei Novak and Agnieszka Kopera. Apologize if I mispronounced those. After a devastating nuclear war, 6 human factions are seeking shelter in the Centauri system. On the verge of extinction, the humans are saved by a superior civilization, allegedly the Centaurians, and each faction is given a fresh start on a new planet. Thus, the exodus of humanity seems to have ended on the planets orbiting the star called Proxima Centauri. When the Centaurians announce their departure, the struggle for power commences once again. In Exodus Proxima Centauri, 6 factions fight for dominance in an epic empire-building game, striving to build a new human empire on the ashes of the Centaurian civilization. Each player will build his own space fleet of customized ships and conquer new planets, fight the Centaurian resistance, and the other players negotiate and vote for political decisions, research Centaurian technologies, and much more. Kind of shows you the components. So research economy, politics, and war, an epic empire building game for 2 to 6 players. So it's a big box with a lot of components, and it's a bit of a challenge to pack everything in there actually. And so to figure out the best way to pack it in there, this is kind of the approach I went with, so maybe this would work for you. I put all the tiles on top. They kind of lay flat there good. And then these kind of blueprints put on top as well. Then you got the rule book, which is, 15 pages. A lot of good descriptions in there. Got these sheets for each of the players here. Then you have the tracking sheet here for high council voting, political area, common market, victory points track, turn track, Centaurian resistance. Got several cards which we'll talk about in detail. I kind of tucked them in the side here. Then for the components, there's a lot, but I found that this craft box works really well, which I used here. Everything fits very nicely in there. So, and also the benefits of this, hobby box I got as well. You take the cover off, so that fits all the components very well, and that'll work for my storage. So the games that I'm doing is the first edition, and it seems to come with the General's mini expansion, which they discuss in the rules here, which comes with 15 extra political cards, 6 extra Centaurian resistance cards, and I'm not sure how common it is to have that expansion with it, but that's what this has. So as far as the components, so see, these are the ship blueprints. Comes in sets for each of the 6 players. And there's 4 different ones for each of these 6 players. So you have the type of ship, the cost to build one, number of victory points for the opponent who destroys a ship, the amount of population the ship may transport, various upgrade element ports, and they're unique for each of the different types of ships. Then we have the hexes. There's 24 of the planet hexes, including the homeworlds. And the back of them looks like this, and this is the front. And then there's the red asteroid hexes. There's 12 of those. Green asteroid hexes, 6 of those. And then a high council hex. So on the planet markers here, there's the number and type of resources. Initially on the planet asteroid, number of victory points. Then along the edges here. So each hex has a 1 through 6. To move a ship, it's you place movement tokens on it. Once the tokens are revealed, that ship follows the direction indicated by the numbers of the movement tokens. And the hexes are well done. They're pretty big, kind of normal thickness, kind of nice, kind of smooth feel to them. And these are the 6 homeworlds for each of the different players. So the game is powered by actions, and each player is a identical set of 6 action cards for the different players here. And then examples are shown here. So selection of actions is done simultaneously, and each player is able to play the same kind of action several times every turn. 6 possible actions. Research, learn new technology and benefit from its advantages immediately. Build ships, put new ships in the game. Each player has only 1 ship factory on his home planet. So all new ships will enter the game in that hex. Buy upgrades, purchase and place ship parts on ships or rockets, on planets, provided that the appropriate tech was researched. Banking, roll a die to receive extra income. Trade, exchange resources using the common market. Mining, roll a die to replenish resources on your planets. So each of the 6 players has identical cards. So the top half is the action, and the bottom part is the reaction, and we'll talk about that in play. Then there's 6 of the info cards for each player, talking about different stages of play. Turn order cards going 1 through 6. Chancellor, Vice Chancellor, High Council, etc. Then there's these smaller cards, which are the political cards. There's 30 of them, and you can see they're smaller than the other ones. So there's they have the main effect. Some have a secondary effect. Some main effect, and then secondary effect are immediate effect that applies first. So some examples. So there's 3 types. There's laws, resolutions, and executive decisions. So laws stay permanently on the table or until they are cancelled by a different political card. For instance, Council Defense Law. Ships are not allowed to move or step in the High Council space. Executive resolutions stay on the table for exactly 1 turn, during which their effect is in place. For instance, scientific pursuit. And then there's executive decisions. Their effects are resolved immediately, then they are removed from the game. For example, expanding the empire. Then the bonus action cards. In the rules it says there's 6, but I have 7, and they look like they all belong, so I'll go with these. Move, trade, mining, research, supplies, buy upgrades, and build ships. The ability cards, they're mentioned in the General's mini expansion, so I'm not sure if they're just part of the main game, but they came with mine. So description, what the cards are. A couple examples: Magnetic Storm, beginning of the fire weapons, Master Spectrum stage, gain 1 victory point, discard after use, discard to use, Choose 2 planets. Where do you have population other than your home planet? Those planets are protected from all the effects of any WMDs till the end of the turn in black market. Centaurian resistance cards. There's 33 to 39 depending on if you have that mini expansion. So there's 3 types. There's 1, 2, and 3. These are examples. 1, discard, learn immediately, or keep until the end of the game for a victory point. Again, this is how it applies for 2 and 3. So part of the concept is to go around and do various upgrades to your ships and also gather resources. So here's an example ship blueprint, and these are some planetary and ship upgrades here, which would fit in the various slots of the blueprint. So there's 12 of these hypersonic rockets, 12 biochemical rockets, 10 graviton rockets, and for drives we have 24 of these nuclear drives, 18 fusion drives, 12 anti-gravity drives. For shields, there's 30 electromagnetic shields, 24 multipolar grid shields, 12 quark gluon plasma shields. As far as cannons, there's 36 of these times 1 phase cannons, 18 of the 3 times plasma cannons, 30 of the 2 times solid state laser cannons, and 12 of the 5 times antimatter cannons. And as far as resources, these are crystallized platinum, and this indicates 5 of them. That's 1. And there's 103 of these and 55 of these. Exinium, there's 48 of these. Phasium, 24 of these. These are damage tokens, 10 of them. And these are Centaurian resistance ships, the 1, 2, and 3. In addition to each of the individual 6 players having their own home planet hacks and action cards, these are the unique units for each player. Each get 5 of these nice dice. These are population cubes, there's 25 of those. Nice hard plastic ships here. 2 war cruisers, 2 fighters, 2 battle carriers, and 2 dark raiders. And these are the voting tokens. Movement tokens, 20 of those total. On one side they're blank, and the other side they're not. They also have one that has a blank in it. And then just show the other colors. Here's the ships, the other colors as well. Just going through the rules here. First of all, there's a good backstory explaining why the humans left Earth and what the Centaurans are about, and appreciate that. It's always good to have a good background. In very high level summary, basically the humans destroyed the Earth through war, and so there's 6 factions. They had to leave the Earth, and they happened upon the Centaurans. Centaurans are advanced beings, and after a while it turns out the Centaurans inform the humans that they're themselves going extinct, so they're basically transitioning, handing over the worlds to the humans, and that's where we're at. So the concepts. So the universe of Proxima Centauri is represented by a hex map. Each hex except the High Council hex has a planet asteroid in the middle. There are 3 types, blue, red, and green, each of them harboring resources, CP, Axiom, and Phasium. All the home planets are blue. Most planets also provide VPs for the players, and that has to have population there at the end of the game. Empires are represented by population by spaceships. Population lives on the planet's asteroids and is transported between the planet ships. Population created by cloning. You'll receive extra population cubes every turn on your home planet. Having population on planets allows you to harvest resources from that planet, regardless of other players having population on the same planet. Having majority of population on a planet also allows you to score the victory points on the planet at the end of the game. The resources. Most action in the games require card CP, paying tax, building, researching and upgrading. Exinium, its value of 1 is used for building ships. Phasium is green, has a value of 1, is used for purchasing upgrades. Ships are used for fighting other players' ships, or Centaurian resistance ships, to assert domination of a region of space, and to transport population. 4 types of ships. Each type of ship has a blueprint, which allows it to be customized by its owner. Blueprint also shows the cost of building one ship of that kind and the number of VPs awarded to the enemy player who destroys the ship. Players may research technologies. Although they do not bring victory points directly, technologies are powerful instruments for developing your empire. Each player's technology tree in its play map. They are available throughout the game. These technologies are divided according to their purpose in 3 groups: civilian, transport, military. They're also divided by their origin into gray, brown, purple, and these symbols, white, according to the Centaurian origin. Researching technology of one origin provides a subsequent discount for all other technologies of the same origin. So, for instance, it shows an example here. Technology cost in CP. Technology according to type. Civilian, transport, and military. Each type of ship has its own blueprint. There are empty spaces for upgrades, shown here. The cannon, drives, and shields of different levels can be put in there. Players get to move their ships in separate stages of each turn. Movement is simultaneous, simulating real-time war situation. Movement tokens are used to point the directions of movement for every ship. It only matters where a ship ends its movement. 2 enemy ships cannot meet halfway. The space is large enough for both of them to not notice each other as they're moving at high speed. Edges of every hex are numbered 1 to 6. To move a ship, the owner will place movement tokens on it. Once the tokens are revealed, that ship will follow the direction indicated by numbers on the movement tokens. The game is powered by actions. Each player has an identical set of 6 action cards. Selection of actions is done simultaneously, and each player is able to play the same kind of action several times every turn. There are 6 possible actions, which we talked about. And then, game features political decisions that will affect all players equally throughout the game. Every turn, the players will vote on one of 3 possible political decisions, and they will choose a bonus action to speed up the game. The political decisions are reached through bidding. All the auctions game are all pay auctions. The types of political decisions, we discussed before. There are ships on the map that do not belong to any player. They're called the Centaurian Resistance, and they will fight anyone who stations ships there. See the strength of the enemy ship. The player will draw a card from the Centaurian Resistance deck that shares a symbol and color of that ship. That card will determine the firepower and the shielding of the Centaurian ship, and VPs that will be gained by the player when he defeats the Centaurian Resistance ship. So the aim of the game is to accumulate victory points, VPs, and thus assert your supremacy over the other factions. You can collect victory points by winning battle against the other players or against the Centaurian Resistance, by populating planets, by expanding your fleet of ships, and by holding political titles. So it shows a bit about game setup here. According to the number of players, choose a layout for the map, see next page. Place a console hex in the middle of the gaming table. Randomly choose any red, green, blue planets according to the ship and shuffle them together. Place them all face up randomly to form the figure, indicating the layout. All hexes should be oriented the same way. Finally, place home planet hexes and Centaurian resistance ships on the map according to layout. Place resources on the hexes of the map. The number and type of resources in each hex is indicated on the planet in that hex. Place the remaining resources, damage tokens, and all the upgrades on the gaming table. Place the High Council board and the table face up. Shuffle the political cards and place them face down next to the High Council board. Separate the Centaurian resistance cards according to the number on their back. 1, 2, or 3. Shuffle each deck and place them face down next to the High Council board. Place the bonus action cards on the table face up. Distribute the turn order cards for the first turn. Do this either by giving the lowest numbers, most experienced players, or random. Holding the Chancellor and the Vice Chancellor titles at the beginning of the game gives no advantage. Each player chooses a color, identifies, and takes out the component associated. Place 3 population cubes on your home planet, and 1 dark raider and 1 battle carrier on the hex containing your home planet. Please note that although they're on the same hex, the population on the planet ships fly in the space surrounding the planet. Each player takes 5 CP from the bank, 4 nuclear drives, 2 phase cannons, and 1 electromagnetic shield, and places them on the blueprints of the ships. Tip: first time players place 1 drive in each ship, 1 cannon and a shield on the battle carrier, and the remaining cannon the Dark Raider. Place the counter token on the High Council board, turn track, on the turn 1. There's the setups for either 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 players, where the hexes go, and resistance ships, planets. Playing the game. Game stretches over 10 turns. Every turn, players go through the same sequence of steps as detailed below. Every turn consists of 5 stages. The upkeep stage, reset market, move all tokens placed on the market. During the first turn, skip this step, there's nothing to remove. Increase population. Each player places 2 population cubes from his personal supply on his home planet. If the player has researched the expert cloning technology, he will place 1 additional population cube from his supply on his home planet. Update income and pay tax in turn order. Get CP income. Take 1 5 CP token from each blue planet where you have population and place it in your personal supply. If you have researched advanced CP mining, you may take 1 additional 5 CP token from each blue planet where you have population. Get Exinium income and pay tax. Take 1 Exinium token from each red planet where you have population and place it in your personal supply. If you have researched advanced Exinium mining, you may take 1 additional Exinium from each red planet where you have population. Pay back to the bank 1 CP for each Exinium token you receive this turn. Get Phasinium income and pay tax. Take 1 Phasinium token from each green planet where you have population and place it in your personal supply. If you have researched advanced Phasium mining, you may take 1 additional Phasium from each of your green planets. Pay back to the bank 1 CP for each Phasium token you receive this turn. If you cannot pay the tax, you may not take the Exinium and Phasium from the planets. Repair ships. Players who research basic repairs remove 1 damage token from each of their ships. Please note that ships do not get repaired automatically. As an example, Council stage. Once per cycle, the leaders of 6 factions face each other under the supervision of the Elder. Their fear of losing the Elder's favor and access to wealth and power beyond their imagination makes them set weapons aside and engage in a struggle of politics, negotiation, and betrayal. Whichever decision they make, everyone respects them to the last letter, leaving unspoken the consequences of doing otherwise. So remove from the game any political cards marked resolution, political decision. Reveal the top 3 political cards, 3, 4, 5, 6 players, or 2 for 2 players, and place them in the common play mat in their designated spaces. Allow open discussion between players to negotiate on the political decision they want. Bid on the political cards, see the bidding process section, and select the winner. All the ties are broken by the Chancellor. Once the political card is selected, put its effect into play, starting with the immediate effect. Remove the unselected political cards from the game. Bidding process. The bidding currency is CP. Players have at their disposal all the CP tokens they have accumulated up to that point. Tip: during the first few turns, it is recommended that the players spend less than 5 CP during the whole console stage. Make sure that the 3 political cards are placed in the spaces marked A, B, and C, and that everyone is aware of the effects of each card. All bids are closed. All pay auctions. Each player will place in one closed fist-making hand the amount he wants to bid together with one vote token marked A, B, or C. Once everyone has decided, bids cannot be changed anymore, and all players must reveal their hands simultaneously. Place the content of all the bids, vote tokens and CP, the corresponding cards. Count the total number of each card, assuming one vote taken is equal to 1 CP. Select the winner. If 2 or more cards are tied for the highest amount, the Chancellor breaks the tie. Action stage 1. Play first action card. Each player looks at his hand of action cards and chooses one card to play. That action card is then played face down in front of him on the table. The action that will be resolved is the one written on the top half of the card. After all the players have their action cards face down in front of them, all the action cards are revealed. They cannot be replaced anymore. In turn order, each player performs a main action, top half of the card, written on his card. Reaction, the first action, which is the first reaction. In turn order, each player may activate and execute react the secondary action, lower half of one of the action cards face up on the table. To activate this action, the player must remove 1 or 2 population tokens from his home planet and place them on the specific card with the action they want to perform. Bonus action decision. The Vice Chancellor selects 2 bonus action cards, 3 in a 2-player game, from the 6 available and gives them to the Chancellor. The Chancellor will choose one of them or none of them. If none is chosen, no bonus action will be played during the current turn. Place the selected bonus action face up on the gaming table and set the rest of the bonus action cards aside. They will not be used for the rest of the turn. Elections for Chancellor in the order of play. Bid for the order of play. All ties are broken by the Chancellor. For the whole election process, the Chancellor is not allowed to break any ties in his favor. Redistribute the turn order cards accordingly. Attention, the ties are broken by the old Chancellor. Only after all ties are broken does the new turn order take effect. And the new Chancellor and Vice Chancellor are officially appointed. Then there's examples. Activating your own card requires 1 population token. Activating any other card requires 2 population tokens. A player who does not wish to activate a secondary token from any action card will simply pass. This skip is not mandatory. A player may choose not to activate any secondary actions. To activate a secondary action, the player must use population tokens from his home planet. If there aren't enough population tokens available on his home planet, he cannot activate a reaction. Return the used population tokens to their owner's stashes, not back on the planets. Any player who has researched the basic politics technology will take his action card back in his hand. Play second action card. Each player looks at the remaining action cards in his hand and chooses 1 card to play. That action card is then placed face down in front of him on the table. After all the players have their action cards face down in front of them, all the action cards are revealed. They cannot be replaced by any more and placed on top of the 1 action card, the first action card. In turn order, each player performs a main action written on his card. Reaction to second action, second reaction. In turn order, each player may react to one of the action cards face up on the table. Only second action. The same rules from the first reaction apply. Example. And then play third action card. Only the players who have researched the master politics technology may participate. Those players will repeat the steps from play second action card. There is no reaction to the third action. Play bonus action. In turn order, all the players perform the action written on the bonus action card chosen during the console stage. If the bonus action is move, then the current turn will contain one additional conquest stage. There is no reaction to the bonus action. Then actions. Research. With a research action, you may learn exactly one technology. For detailed list of technologies, see the technology section. Place a population cube from your stash, not your home planet, on technology of your choice, and pay its associated cost in CP to the bank. Each technology receives a discount of 1 CP for every other technology of the same color a player has already researched, and for every other technology of the same type, military, civilian, transport, a player has already researched. These discounts are cumulative. Additional discounts or restrictions from political cards may also apply. Technologies cannot be unresearched. The advantages of any technology are applied immediately. Banking, roll die and collect CP from the bank equal to the amount that was rolled. Build ships. An action to build ships allows the player to pay the costs and place any number of ships in the hex where his home planet is. The cost for each ship is written in the blueprint. Those ships can be activated in the very next conquest stage. Same turn. Bonuses, discounts, or restrictions from political cards also apply. Buy upgrades. Using buy upgrades allows the player to purchase any number of upgrades from the common supply. The ship parts, cannons, shields, drives, modify the blueprints of ships. As soon as a new upgrade is placed on a ship, all ships of that type behave according to the new blueprint. A necessary precondition to buying an upgrade is to have research technology, allowing you to have that specific upgrade. For example, you may buy an anti-gravity drive only after you have researched the anti-gravity drive technology. Phaser cannons do not have any prerequisite. Every upgrade has a cost. A player must pay the cost of all the upgrades he is buying. All upgrades must be placed immediately on the blueprints or on the planets. Any unused upgrades are returned to the bank. Players may rearrange upgrades from one ship blueprint to another at any time except during the conquest stage. Bonuses, discounts, or restrictions from political cards also apply. There can only be one drive per ship. Mining. Roll a die and place that many resources on planets where you have population, up to the maximum that is written on each planet. The resources can be distributed in any way among the planets, respecting the maximum written on each planet. Trade. A trade action allows a player to exchange resources after selling Exinium Phasium for CP or buying Exinium Phasium with CP. To perform a trade, place one generic token from your supply, not from your planets, and leftmost free space on the market. Then roll a die, see the result. You may perform that many exchanges. One exchange allows selling one Exinium Phasium for CP or buying one Exinium Phasium for CP. If you have researched advanced trading, you may buy, sell, or both. Buy and sell. Perform the detailed exchanges with the bank. Use exchange rates written in red before buying and selling. If you have not researched advanced trading, you may either buy or sell, but not both. Perform the desired exchanges with the bank. Use exchange rates written in black. Both the buying and selling areas of one type are blocked for all the players, including the original player, after a player has used them. If there are no available areas, no trade may be performed. And then there's the technologies. So advanced trading, may use better exchange rates, advanced phasium extraction during the upkeep stage. You may take one extra phasium. Advanced Exinium extraction. I won't go into the details here, but you'll get a sense of them. Advanced CP extraction during the phase. You may take one extra CP. Advanced banking. Roll one additional die when you execute a banking action. Basic politics. During the action phase, before taking the second action, you may take your first action card back to your hand. Advanced politics. You have to pay income tax. Expert politics, your reactions cost 1 population less. Master politics, you may play the third action. Expert cloning, to navigate stage, your population increases with 1 additional population cube. For each of these, they go into quite a bit of detail, but I was kind of talking about the high definition. Hypersonic rockets, you may place hypersonic rockets on planets. Hypersonic rockets are used against resources on other planets. Biochemical rockets, you may buy and place biochemical rockets on planets. They're used against population on other planets. Graviton rockets, you may buy and place graviton rockets on planets. They're used against entire planets. They completely destroy the target planet along with its population and resources. Electromagnetic shield, you may buy and place electromagnetic shields on your ships. Electromagnetic shield can withstand a total of 1 damage. Multipolar grid shield, you may buy and place multipolar grid shields in your ships. A multipolar grid shield can withstand a total of 2 damage. Quark gluon plasma shield, you may buy and place quark gluon plasma shields on your ships. Can withstand 3 damage. Plasma cannon, you may buy and place plasma cannons on your ships. Combat plasma cannon allows the rolling of 3 dice. Solid state laser cannon, you may buy and place SSL cannons on your ships. Combat SSL allows the rolling of 2 dice. Antimatter cannon, you may buy and place antimatter cannons on your ship. Combat antimatter cannon allows the rolling of 5 dice. Advanced maneuver for transport, the other one's hypersonic and was military. For transport, there's advanced maneuver. Your attempts to deploy population from ships and asteroids are always successful. Basic repairs. During the upkeep stage of every turn, remove 1 damage token from each of your ships. Civilian ships. To the conquest stage, you may freely move your population cubes among the planets where they are already present. Advanced mining. Roll 1 additional die when executing a mining action or reaction. Radar cancels the effect of cloaking, making all ships visible for you. Also, when making the distance check for firing WMDs, add 1 to the roll of your die. Cloaking. Your ships are invisible to all the other players who have not researched the radar technologies. Ships protected by cloaking cannot be attacked by anyone without the radar tech. Players under cloaking can choose to either engage in combat or to remain cloaked. Fusion drive. You may buy and place fusion drives on your ships. A fusion drive allows your ships to move up to 2 hexes away. Anti-gravity drive. You may buy and place anti-gravity drives in your ships. Anti-gravity drive allows your ships to move up to 3 hexes away. Then general purpose basic research provides a discount for all military, civilian, and transport technologies. Fire weapons of mass destruction stage. All rockets are classified as weapons of mass destruction, WMD. The weapons of mass destruction may be placed by players on planets, asteroids where they have a majority in population tokens. A WMD on a planet may be fired only by the player who has a majority on the planet. WMD are used solely against planets and asteroids, with the exception of home planets who possess a unique defense system against all WMDs. A WMD may fire up to a maximum distance of 5 hexes away. A WMD fires by rolling the amount of dice written on it. Roll 5 or 6 represents a hit. To fire weapons of mass destruction, do the following. Setting targets. In turn order, players may assign 1 target planet for each WMD. 1 or more rockets may be assigned to the same target planet. Distance check. Roll die. If the number rolled is strictly greater than the distance of the originating hex to the target hex, WMD hits the target. Remember that if you have the radar technology, you should add 1 to your die roll for the distance check. Damage roll. If your WMD passes the distance check, roll the necessary amount of dice for each single rocket. 5 for hypersonic, 3 for biochemical, 2 for graviton. 5 and 6 represent hits. Destroy 1 resource per hit, if available, with hypersonic rockets. 1 population per hit if available with the biochemical rockets, and the planet with all its population, resources, and rockets. Flip the hex. The ships in that hex are not affected. The planet and all its population is for the graviton rocket. Attention, all WMDs are fired at the same time, even if a planet containing WMD is the target of a successful attack by a Graviton rocket, the EWMD will still be allowed to be fired before the hex is flipped. Remember, every EWMD may be fired only once per turn. Conquest stage. During the conquest stage, players get to move their ships and their population. They will expand their empire and fight to gain victory points. Mount population, optional. Players may put population from planets onto ships in the same hex. All those ships must have transport capacity. Every war cruiser can carry 1 population, and every battle carrier can carry 3 population. The number of population tokens in a ship may not exceed that ship's transport capacity. At this point, players who research this fill in ships may move population cubes between the planets where they already have population. Place movement tokens on ships. Every ship can move up to 3 hexes away according to the drive mounted on the ship. Each token is either blank or it has a direction number written on it. Blank means no movement, and a direction number forces the ship to move in that direction. Players may place 1, 2, or 3 movement tokens next to each ship, face down. The number of tokens is at most equal to the drive capacity equipping that type of ship. This will be executed in order from top to bottom. If no tokens are placed, the ship will not move. Move all ships. Reveal and execute the movement tokens on all ships from top to bottom. The order in which ships move is not relevant. Once the tokens are assigned, ships are executed. Return them to their player stash. Uncloaking optional. Cloaked ships decide whether to uncloak or not. Once uncloaked, there is no going back. Those ships will enter combat. All ships belong to the same player, and each hex must uncloak or remain cloaked together. Cloaked ships detected by a radar and thus forced to engage in combat are visible to everyone. Resolve conflicts. Conflicts appear when ships belonging to 2 or more players are in the same hex. All ships in the same hex will battle until there are ships belonging to only 1 player left in the hex. Battles are structured in combat rounds. Each combat round consists of roll number of dice equal to the total number of damage symbols on the cannons of all your ships. All 5 and 6 are hits. Any other number is a miss. All ships fire at the same time. For every hit, assign 1 damage to. Put a damage token on a ship belonging to another player. If more than 2 players are in the same hex, damage assignment is done in turn order. Remove all ships with damage exceeding their total shield power. Fight the Centaurian resistance. After only 1 player has ships left in each hex, in those hexes where there are Centaurian resistant ships, another battle takes place. Identify the type of Centaurian resistant ship and reveal the top card of the corresponding deck. That card will reveal the firepower and strength of the Centaurian resistant ship. The Centaurian resistant ship will be controlled by the player to the left of the attacking player. Battle that ship, respecting the rules for player versus player combat above. In the case of victory, keep the battle card and remove the defeated Centaurian resistant ships from the game. You may discard it any time outside the conquest stage to gain a bonus, or you may keep it until the end of the game to gain victory points. In the case of defeat, remove immediately all damage from the resistant ship and place the Centaurian resistance card on the bottom of its deck. Deploy population, optional. 1 or more of the population tokens on ships may be deployed on the planets in the same hexes as ship carrying them. The deployment may occur regardless of the presence of population tokens belonging to other players. Population may be deployed off all ships, including cloaked ships. Population can descend without restrictions on any blue planet. That includes all home planets. For each population token that needs to descend on a red or green asteroid, roll die to check deployment success. A roll of 4 or 6 is a success. That population token may be deployed. Any other roll prevents the respective population token to be deployed, therefore it must remain on the ship. The advanced maneuvers technology allows players to skip the die roll and always deploy successfully. Every turn the players play 2 separate consecutive conquest stages. In case the selected bonus action was move, then a 3rd separate conquest stage is played that turn. Then some examples of movement combat. Then additional rules for the conquest stage. Players may choose not to use movement tokens for moving some or all their ships. If they do so, they must move all their ships for which they do not wish to use tokens before any movement tokens are revealed. The general rules of moving ships apply. If the ships belong to 2 or more players, all with cloaking technology and without radar, end up at the same hex, they may not uncloak and engage in combat. As long as the ships belonging to at least 1 player become visible, either due to lack of cloaking or due to discovery by radar, then all players still cloaked have the option to uncloak. Then victory. The aim of the game is to accumulate victory points to assert supremacy over the other factions. At the end of the game, the player with the most victory points wins the game. These victory points track on the common board. In the case of a final tie, the turn order is the tiebreaker. Accumulating victory points. Population cubes of planets and asteroids at the end of the game. The player with the most population tokens on a planet gets all the victory points. In the case of a tie, all the players tied for the most population share the VPs. The winner of the combat, player versus player, is the only one awarded points for destroying enemy ships. He will get points for all ships destroyed in that combat, except his own, regardless of who dealt the damage. Population cubes can be deployed off cloaked ships without any additional constraints and without uncloaking. The general rules for deployment still apply. Before the last conquest stage of the last turn of the game, all players gain the radar technology and there are no cloaked ships anymore. Space domination at the end of the game. Each player gets 1 VP for each hex where he has at least 1 ship. The player who has ships in the High Council hex gets 3 additional VPs, Centaurian Resistance cards. All Centaurian Resistance cards come with a number of VPs. The player who did not discard them from the immediate bonus should add these VPs. Fighting throughout the game. The winner of every player versus player fight, the player that has ships left in hex at the end of the battle, is awarded VPs for every enemy ship destroyed in the battle, regardless of who dealt the damage. The number of VPs for each type of ship is marked on the blueprint. Chancellor and Vice Chancellor at the end of the game. The holder of the Chancellor title gets 3 VPs, and the holder of the Vice Chancellor gets 1 VP. And then there's some more optional rules as far as different map layouts shown there. Then also the long game. You play over 9 turns. Take only 2 CP as starting resources. Beginning the game. Basic research technology is not available. And then a combat intensive game. Follow minimal setup to encourage battles. Play over 5 turns only. Take 10 CP as starting resources. Beginning the game. Each player starts with exactly 3 technologies of its choice, with a total research cost of 20 CP or less. Basic research may not be obtained this way. Each player starts with 1 extra battle carrier. And then here's the long game setups and minimal setups. There's answers to some frequently asked questions. Then the short simplified game. This setup is for those in a rush who would like to finish the game in 120 minutes and have simpler rules. Then I use movement tokens during the conquest stage. Execute movement in reverse turn order from number 6 to number 1. Skip paying tax. Always play 3 actions per turn and do not play reactions. Bonus politics and bonus actions still apply. Decide on a time limit or a number of turns. Then there's the general mini expansion, which in my set they have included the components for. If your game came with the General's Mini Expansion, then you have a few extra cards in there. Use the 15 extra political cards and the 6 extra Centaurian Resistant cards together with the ones from the original game for greater diversity. Shuffle all the ability cards and deal 1 to each player, 2 for the long game and combat intensive game. Remove the rest of them from the game without looking at them. The ability cards should be kept secret throughout the game. The abilities info card has a detailed description of how the players may use the ability cards. In case of ability card contracts the rulebook, the ability card has priority. Then we'll get into setup and play. So here's setup. I'm doing 2 players, yellow versus green. First of all, you put the High Council hex in the center. Then you put the homeworlds in these 2 different locations. And this is from the layout map for 2 players. And then you randomly take the other mix of hexes for red and green asteroids and planets and put them on in this arrangement. Centaurian resistance ships. Again, in the configuration shown in the setup map. Put the number of type of each. Resources on the asteroids and planets shown here. For instance, 3 red, 4 green. Political card shuffled here next to the High Council board. The Centaurian resistance cards are the 3 different types shuffled next to the High Council board. Action cards. Bonus action cards. Turn order cards. It's unclear to me if you take out some cards depending on the players, like if there's 2 players you do 2 cards. It seems to me you need at least the Chancellor in there, so I'm just going to go with taking cards 1 and 2 then. I'll have green star as the Chancellor and yellow as the Vice Chancellor. 3 population cubes on each of the homeworlds. Each player gets 5 CP. And they start with a Dark Raider and a Battle Carrier on their home planet with the corresponding ship blueprints. Then to put on the blueprints, they get 4 nuclear drives, 2 phase cannons, and 1 electromagnetic shield. And I'll put the drive, of course, in each of the ships. I have a couple extra for other ships that come along. The shield and the battle carriers and cannons on all the ships. Turn markers set on 1. And when the hexes are set up, all the numbers are lined in the same directions. You see the ones going off to that side, so they're all consistent that way. Then we'll get into play. So going into the first turn here, starting with green. First of all, the upkeep stage. Get CP income. Get 5 CP from the planets you have. Increase population. Put 2 population cubes from personal supply onto the planet. He only's got 1. Planets, he puts 2 there. Get Exinium income and pay tax. He doesn't have any red asteroids, so that's not going to happen. Get phasing income and pay tax. Doesn't have any green asteroids, so that's not going to happen. And then yellow puts 2 population on their planet. Get 5 CP from their planet. They don't have any red or green asteroids, so they don't get any of that. The console stage now, and this is the part where it's probably kind of difficult to do solitaire. I guess you could probably randomize this. But you draw, for 2 players, you draw 2 cards. So the 2 political cards they can choose from are Abolish Law. The Chancellor must remove immediately 1 law of his choice from the table, executive decision, or Peacekeeping. Build ships, actions, and reactions. Allow the building of only 1 ship, and that's a resolution. So I'll put Abolish Law for the voting A and Peacekeeping for B. And the boat, they're not interested in Abolish Law because there aren't any out there to abolish yet, but they're both interested in Peacekeeping, and they'll both choose the B token to vote on that. They both exchanged 5 CP for the individual ones, so they have a little more fine tuning what they can do there. So then you take A, B, or C, and B in this case, and figure out how much you're going to bid. And it's secret, but I'll just kind of randomize how much they're going to bid. I'll take a D6 and divide it by half to kind of randomize it. So he's going to bid 1. And he's also going to bid on B. And he'll bid 1 as well. And they both have to pay 1 CP regardless of if they won or not. And they'll do that. And then it's a tie, so the Chancellor gets to break the tie, and I guess he'll vote for himself to do that. It's unclear if the Chancellor can break a tie in his favor. Doesn't say anything about that, so I'm going to say that it can. Then, still in the council stage, the vice chancellor, who is yellow in this case, chooses 3 in the 2-player game. So he's going to do move, trade, and supplies. And then the chancellor can choose from one of these. He'll choose the move bonus action. So that'll be available this turn. Then elections for chancellor in the order of play. So similarly, they got a bid for who's going to go first. Again, I'll just kind of randomize it. So yellow will bid 3, I'll just divide that by 2. And green will bid 2. So he'll lose 3, and he'll lose 2. Next turn, yellow will be the chancellor, and green will be the vice chancellor. Build ships. So, again, because of the peacekeeping card, they're only allowed to build 1 ship this turn. And they'll build a Dark Raider, which costs 2 CP. So for yellow's action, they wanted to do build ships, but because peacekeeping was the political card, only one ship build was allowed, and green already did that. So they're going to go with research. So they'll take 1 population cube, and they're going to do basic politics, so put the population cube there, and then it costs 2 CP. And then they can do the first reaction, where they would put 1 population token from the home planet if it's their card, or 2 if it's a different card, and then activate the lower part of the card. But they're both going to want to conserve their CP right now, so they're going to not do that. They're going to skip that step. And then the second action card, since yellow has researched basic politics, they're able to put their research card back in their card deck, but green can't use the build chips one that they had selected before, so that stays out of their card deck to choose from for the second action card. So then for their second action, green is going to choose banking, and yellow is also going to choose banking. So you roll a die, 2. So he has 2 more CP. And then yellow will roll a die, gets 4 more CP. So now the second reaction, green is going to research basic politics, since that's researches the lower part of the banking. So I'll put a population cube there, pay 2 CP. And also yellow is going to do research. They're going to do civilian ships, pay 2. And they had previously, they get a bonus if they do it in the same, type of column or the same technology. And before they had done technology with this symbol, and since that doesn't match, they don't get a bonus for that or for the column. So it still costs them 2, and they'd have to take 1 population. Then to take 2 CP. Then there'd be a third action if someone had master politics technology, but neither has that. So now we go to the bonus action, which is move. So they basically each get an extra conquest stage. And the fire weapons and mass destruction stage, they haven't staged any weapons of mass destruction yet, so they won't be doing that. So now we're on the conquest stage, and normally you do the conquest stage all the way through twice, but since we have the bonus action and move, we'll do it 3 times. So you do mount population, place movement tokens, move ships, resolve space conflicts, deploy population. So first of all, mount population. The battle carriers can carry 3 population. The Dark Raiders can't carry any, so they want to leave some population on the planet to do research. So they'll put 2 in their battle carrier, and yellow will do that as well from the home planet. Then place movement tokens. And all their ships, yellow and green, have a drive distance of 1, so you just put 1 under each. And you can either put them on the display here, and here you'd have to differentiate whether it's ship 1 or 2 of each. But I'm just going to put them under the ships themselves. So the idea here is I'm going to have this Dark Raider go down to so he'll be going to 4, which is this edge. And this is done in secret, but let's play 2 different players here. And I'm going to have both this Dark Raider and the battle carrier go up here, which is 2. And you don't put them next to the edge they're going. That would kind of telegraph what you're doing there. So you just put them somewhere in that hex. And this one I'm going to have the Dark Raider go down to 5 here. And this battle carrier going up to this planet. And move the ships. So it's going up to 2. Remove that. Remove that. He's going down off the 5 edge here. It's going up the 1 edge. So that's their locations. Space conflicts, there's no space conflicts. Deploy population. So the battle carrier will be dropping 1 population on that planet. Similarly, the yellow he can drop off 1 or 2, but he'll be dropping 1 off there. That's the end of that conquest stage, and now we have 2 more to go. Second conquest stage. So they don't. These are Centaurian resistance. They'd rather fight the level 1 than level 3 or 2, and same for yellow. So they're going to be working back here now that they've populated this. So they're not loading up anything. And these are both going to go to 5. So neither of them are loading up any resources. Turns out actually when you put them under the ships, ships are big enough to hide the numbers, so you don't really have to flip them over if you do it that way. So he's going down to 5. He's going 5 direction. 5 direction. Four direction. He's just staying here, so it's a blank one. He's just staying here because it's a blank one. No space conflicts yet. Not deploying any population. Then go to normally there's 2 conquest stages, but since he has the bonus action move, there's the 3rd. So this is the 3rd one now. Pick up population. He's actually going to go ahead and fill up his battle carrier here. Got 3. He's only got 1 more to put on there. So he's going to 4. 4. Staying here. 5. Staying here. So green wants to deploy a population down to the red planet here. And for red and green planets, when you deploy, you have to roll dice, and then a 4 to 6 is successful. So it's successful. And over here, yellow wants to deploy population down to the green planet here so they can get resources. Again, on a roll of 4 to 6, they're successful. They're successful. No space conflicts yet. So man, the green planet, deploy population. There's no space combat happen to reward victory points. Then you move up to turn 2 now. So moving ahead a little bit here to turn 3. So in turn 2, there was some research and trade that went on. The political card is protect the civilians. Each player may immediately research civilian ship technology. So green got that, yellow had it already. The mining action was, the bonus action was mining. So they replenished the resources on the red and green planets. Green did a battle against level 1, resistance, and they lost a ship but won the battle. So they got a victory point for that. Yellow decided to move over here and go against the level 1 over here. They didn't want to take on this level 2 resistance, so they're back over here. They both, in the research, they both got hypersonic rockets. They have a hypersonic rocket on a planet there. And in the trade, there's yellow did some stuff in the common market. I put the block there to indicate that was yellow. So then we'll get into turn 3. So first of all, reset market. Yellow had sold phasium, and from the market they get 5 CP for that, so they'll clear that off. Each population, they each get 2 populations on their home planets. Get CP income. They get 5 CP for each blue planet. And they both have their home world in a blue planet, so they get 10. Exinium and pay tax, get phasium, pay tax. So when you collect 1, you have to pay 1 CP in tax, or if they have population. So green gets exinium, but they have to pay 1 in tax. Yellow has a phasium they'll get, but they got to pay tax. So council stage, a couple good ones. One is sacrifice, which is executive decision. Every player may sacrifice 1 population on a planet to receive 2 extra resource tokens of his choice from the bank, tax-free, or council aid. Every player receives 1 resource tokens of his choice from the bank, tax-free. So we'll put the aid on A, sacrifice on B. They're both good, so they don't think there's going to be any negative outcome. I'll do like I did before and randomize it. Council aid sounds pretty good. He's going to vote for A. Yellow will also vote for A and see how much they spend. It's a tie. The current chancellor is yellow, so he'll choose A, but they both lose 3. And the political card is council aid. So it's applied immediately. So you get CP, Actinium, or Phasium. Their choice. So green, they could use some Phasium. They get a Phasium. Because they don't mine that yet. And yellow could use Actinium because they don't mine that yet. Bid for Chancellor. Again, I'll randomize it. Both bid 2. In this one, though, specifically the Chancellor can't break a tie. And since yellow's the Chancellors, they're disadvantaged. So green will get to be Chancellor, but they both have to pay their CP. Then bonus actions, the Vice Chancellor will choose through 3. He'll choose mining, research, or build ships. Then the Chancellor will choose from those, and he'll go with mining. He likes that because that'll replenish their supplies. Then we'll go into actions. They're both going to go with banking for their first action. It's good to have some extra resources. You get 6 CP. Yellow gets 5 CP. They're both kind of low in population though, so they don't want to do the second. They don't want to do the first reaction because they'd have to put a population on there. So then they go to the second action. And they both have the technology basic politics, so they can use all the cards in their hand for the trade instead of keeping that one out. Green is going to go with build ships, and he's going to build 1 battle carrier, and that costs 4 CP and 1 Actinium, and he's got an Actinium. He'll put that on his homeworld. Yellow's going to do research. And he wants to get a fusion drive. So it's 4, but he puts a population there. And he's done 1 in this column already, so he can deduct 1 point for that. So it only costs 3 now. And he also has the same type of technology, so he can deduct 1 from that. So it only costs him 2 CP. And then the secondary action. He could do mining, or he could do one of the others, but it costs him 2 population. This can be replenished from the mining bonus action anyway, so he's not going to do that. Trade. He doesn't want to spend a population to do trade, so next time yellow will likely use the buy upgrade action so he can upgrade his ships to the fusion drive. Then the bonus action is mining, which basically means that their planets that do mining will be replenished up to their full. You'd roll a die for that, but they're only down 1, so they're at full. So the fire weapons and mass destruction stage, they each have a hypersonic rocket now, so they can do that. And the closer you're more likely to hit. You basically roll the die and see if you get greater than that the distance. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3. So he's got to get 4 better. He fails. Yellow then is going to fire. His missile opportunity will come back next turn. And again, he's going to go. He'll go over here. This is also 3. He hits. And then for damage, it's a hypersonic missile. So hypersonics take out resources, and you get to roll 5 dice for hypersonic, and a 5 or 6 represents a hit, and then you take out that number of resources. Pretty good damage. He's got 3 hits, so it takes out 3 resources. They do conquest stage, some amount population. He's going to be loading up this battle carrier he just bought. It's a little bit confusing because he's only got 1 display here for 2 ships, so he'll show population on ship 1, which is the furthest out, on the top, and then he's got 2 on the bottom that he loaded up from the planet here. So he's got those loaded up. Yellow doesn't have any to load up. Then move. So these guys have both chosen to go off the 3 side here. They'll engage with this Centaurian resistance. And then yellow is going to be moving in the 6th direction here to engage this first level Centaurian resistance. So a couple battles. So the battle I got going on here is a battle carrier and a Dark Raider against a level 2 Centaurian resistance. And you look at the number of dice rolled in the shields. Centaurian resistance gets 3 die rolls and has 2 shields. And green has a total of 2 dice rolls from their weapons here. And they have, one of their ships doesn't have a shield and one does. It's a little bit unclear to me if the ship can take damage if it doesn't have a shield, but it doesn't say anything about that. So I'm assuming if there's any hit, the ship is gone. And it's hit on all 5 and 6 are hits. So we'll have the green go. They have 2 dice, 1 hit, and they can take 1 damage, so I'll put a damage indicator there. Or they can take 2 damage total, and they've taken 1, so I'll put a damage indicator there. Now Centaurian resistance, they get 3 dice rolls. No hits, which is fortunate. Then green will go, 2 dice rolls. Nope. Centaurian resistance, 3 hits. That's no good. Wiped them both out. So that was a failed battle. So that's my look at Exodus Proxima Centauri from 2012. It's very enjoyable. I know it's highly rated out there, and I see why. This is the first edition. There's also a revised edition that came out with slightly different components to kind of streamline everything. But the basic play is the same. That's my understanding. It's got a lot going for it. I like that you develop your technologies. Get worlds with resources. You have a market aspect going. The actual combat's pretty simple, which is fine. It makes it pretty straightforward. It's got a lot going for it. The components are very nice. Even in the first version, I like the first version. I'm sure the follow-ons were fine too. You got a lot of different options too. There's even ability cards. I didn't get into those, but that's with the kind of general mini expansion. So I'd highly recommend it. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Thanks a lot.